Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Salt Lake Center for Spiritual Living. Happy almost Halloween. It's wonderful to have you join us today. Oh, it's going to be fun. Lots of fun today. We're going to just start off singing because that's how we love to start. Just bring the energy up a little bit. Let's sing together. All that I need to be free.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning and welcome to the Salt Lake Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Rob Ekman and I am your service host this morning. Our center is a spiritual community where all are welcome. And we would like to welcome you, whether you're joining us in person here in the sanctuary or via our virtual love stream. And if you are joining us remotely, please take a moment and type where you're joining us from so that we can all know and acknowledge your participation today. Our center is a spiritual community that teaches a philosophy based on daily living, based on spiritual principles and practices that are universal among all religions. We honor all pathways by which we seek to connect and to know the divine, and we work on our individual consciousness to help make the world a better place. We know that we are all perfect, whole, and complete, and each on our road to a greater spiritual experience. Our practitioner holding high watch today is Farrell. is Farrell Zeman, and throughout the service, Farrell will be in prayer for us, knowing the highest and best is unfolding for each of us as we share this time together. Our prayer practitioner on the stage today with me is Teresa Martin. From wherever you're joining us from, I invite you to recommit yourself to our spiritual purpose by saying our purpose statement with me. We are an open, welcoming community, celebrating our divinity, loving our humanity, and nurturing our journeys of spiritual discovery. Thank you very much. For the latest information on what's happening here at our center, you can always check out our website, which is online at www.spirituallyfree.org. Thank you. Today, our guest speaker is our own Chamaigne Sharette. She will speak on the topic, Share It, Ferret, and Do Take a Slice of My Pie.
At first I read that and I thought it said the Sharette ferret.
Yes. I know we're all excited to hear what you have to share with us today. Our special music today is provided by Mark Chaney. I'd like to welcome anyone who is here for the very first time. If you are willing and able to raise your hand so that we can acknowledge you here today. Yay, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Out in the lobby is at our tables is a welcome packet that we encourage you to pick up that has information about us, as well as a back issue of Science of Mind magazine. Now for announcements. It is my great honor to share the best possible news with all of you. After a full candidating weekend, extensive feedback from the congregation and leadership, and negotiations with our board of trustees, Reverend Cindy Edelson has accepted a letter of call to be our new senior minister beginning in January. Yes. Yes. Reverend Cindy and her wife, Bren, will join us officially on January 8th. They're moving to Salt Lake from California with their two sweet furry companions named Snowy and Poppy. And as you all know, we've been without a senior minister here for a long, long time. And I'm sure that you share my enthusiasm and excitement to have Reverend Cindy part of our family. I'd like to acknowledge everyone who participated in last week's annual potluck picnic. Thank you. That's exactly the word I was looking for. I've heard great reports about it. Lots of food, all kinds of people, and so much support. Chaney shared with me that there was so little for her to do but stand back and direct because there were so many volunteers and love and support for that gathering last week. And thank you all very much for being a part of that. Speaking of parties, we have another one coming up. On Sunday, November 20th at 4 p.m. will be our annual Giving Thanks potluck. Now, this is a favorite event of the year, so please plan on joining us. There are sign-up sheets in the lobby for volunteers, as well as cooking assignments that you can accept. Every year, this group eats several turkeys. I know, ... There's something there, isn't there? We eat several turkeys, and someone has to cook them. If you will buy a turkey and cook it, we will reimburse you. So please sign up on the table out there for, if not a turkey, then something delicious to share with the group. Finally, it's my sad duty to inform everyone here that one of our dear original members, friends and practitioners, has made her transition. Afton Penland passed away on Monday at the age of 93. The Irish poet John O'Donoghue wrote, "It is such a privilege to have people who continue each day to bless us with their love and prayer. These inner friends of the heart confer on us gifts beyond measure. There is such unusual beauty in having people who practice profound faithfulness, praying for us day after day. Often there are lonely frontiers in our lives that we could not cross or endure without the inner sheltering of these prayers. It is not a luxury to have such support. It is a necessity. Truer words have never been spoken, and none have more fully embodied these words than Afton. Before we move into our prayer today, we want to pay tribute to Afton and her service to our community. Afton had practiced religious science since 1954. She attended Founders Church in Los Angeles for 15 years. Founders Church was the original Science of Mind Center for Spiritual Living. Afton told the story of watching Ernest Holmes himself having to stand on a box to reach the lectern to speak. Imagine being in the presence of our founder and hearing our principles and philosophy being shared directly from him. She actually met him and heard him speak. Afton had 2 sons named William and Gary. And after moving back to Utah, Afton did her practitioner training in Ogden before coming here to Salt Lake City, where she served faithfully as a practitioner and a member until 2013, when she moved back to California to live with her son, Bill. Afton and our dear Audrey Gum each became practitioners emeritus in 2011. This is an honorary recognition granted by the Centers for Spiritual Living to those practitioners who have given 20 years of practitioner service. As a practitioner emeritus, the honoree has all the rights and privileges of a licensed practitioner without renewal requirements, and they can enjoy those privileges for life. Audrey shared these memories of Afton. Afton and I went to Reno together to take our practitioner license test. We spent many hours in prayer together over the years. She was a great lady and will be greatly missed and will always have a special place in my heart. Our own member and practitioner, Katie Hernandez, was perhaps the person who stayed in touch most with Afton over the years and also after her move back to Southern California. And she shared this. Afton was my idol. She was my guru. I loved that woman. Every Sunday after service, I would take her to Wendy's to get a bag of food. And then we'd go over to the park, watch the birds, and she would tell me all of her secrets. Rick Sharette shared some thoughts about Afton, figuratively painting a large picture for all of us of who she was. Everything I remember about Afton Penland is bathed in such warm light and brings smiles to my heart. When she shared her thoughts, they were carefully wrapped in simple, plain, yet profound and penetrating wisdom. She was a distinctive, bright light of this spiritual community and gave herself in service to our youth programs, practitioner activities, classes, and folding many, many monthly newsletters, getting them ready to mail, stuffing into envelopes, or stapling them securely. She was a regular at Toastmasters, surprising us at times with her very impactful personal stories. She was a devout caregiver, guardian to her wild and charming nephew, William. And though she had some obvious physical limitations as a polio survivor, she raised William with a quiet strength, loving care, and powerful presence that provided a formidable course corrector for William's sometimes rambunctious behavior. Rick writes, I love Afton. She was a dear friend to me and my family. I sought her counsel and wisdom as a practitioner many times, and she consistently blessed my life. Her warm, sincere smile, soft voice, and steadfast elegance in all she did and said has given me countless beautiful memories that will continue to bless my life. And finally, Reverend Jan Ewing shares, Afton was just a dear, sweet angel of a person, and I'm so glad that we had her in our center, carrying our consciousness. A gentle, quiet, loving person, Afton had a faith that held her steady in a time when people of color were discriminated against. She was a funny woman and a gifted storyteller. So please join me in just a moment of meditative silence as we honor Afton and the blessings that she brought to this spiritual community. Thank you. Our center is founded on and grounded in prayer, and this helps us deal with whatever comes our way and creates a positive experience regardless of our situations. Our professional prayer practitioners are trained in the art and science of affirmative prayer and are always ready to pray with you and for you. You can connect with one by clicking on the link on our homepage online, sending them a prayer request, and knowing that all of the practitioners will uplift you in prayer this week. If you'd like to connect with one personally, you can find them and recognize them by the purple stoles that they wear over their shoulders. Now, I invite you to please settle in. Allow Teresa's reading and the centering music to take you to a sacred space within, and then Teresa will lead us in prayer.
Following on our theme for the month, Everyday Wonder. And this article is from an excerpt from an Ernest Holmes article called Money is a Spiritual Idea. There is a mental atmosphere all around us. It is mind. It is intelligence. It knows, it feels, hears, sees, and understands everything. It is universal, and that is, it is ever present. It is always where we are. It is receptive. It receives our thought. It has power to do anything, produce anything, create anything. It is a great divine natural medium and law. We are surrounded by this mind, and we can use it just as we can use any other natural law. Mental law is thought going out to produce a definite mental result. The Bible says, "The Word became flesh and dwelt amongst us." That is, the Word or thought became manifest to us. And money, then, is the same as all other things. It is a spiritual idea. And where did this idea come from? You cannot answer yes unless you say spirit. So, from spirit or mind comes all that we see. Jesus knew that a man who has sought first the kingdom is given the power to do all things and has all things at his command. He knew that we are surrounded by this mind stuff and that we could use it as definitely as any other law. And he said, "What I do, you can do also." There is an ultimate method which we can operate through scientific law. We may impress or register on this all-surrounding mind an image, which is the thought of the thing we wish. That thought will return to us in the form that we send out. As a man thinketh, so is he, and we must consciously, persistently think that which we wish to have is ours. It must be just as right to have money as any other good, and we make up our mind what it is we want. And then we must believe it in season and out of season. Know every day that the thing we wish for is just at hand, waiting with faith to be made manifest.
I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens. send my peace over the mountains. I send my peace over the sea. I send my peace into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my prayer over the mountains. I send my prayer over the sea. I send my prayer into the heavens, and it returns to me. It returns to
So sending that prayer over the mountains, out into the universe, into the spiritual medium that is out there, that dwells within us also. I give thanks for the tribute to our dear friend, Afton Pendlin, knowing that she is well, she is safe. She has joined her companions, her family, and all those who have passed on before her. I give thanks for the life that she was and is and continues to be. And honouring that spirit within her. We are gifted with that spirit within us. It is everywhere present, and we know it and can use it. And right here on this day, I feel truly blessed. And in deep gratitude, I give thanks for all the good that there is, for this beautiful centre, for our congregants, whether near or far, for the music and the fabulous thoughts that come from our speaker, and the tribute from Robert. It is a fabulous day. It is everything we make it and we want it to be. So when I say this is a great day, it is already a great day. It is beautiful in every way. We are surrounded by this beauty and we encompass it. So in deep gratitude, I let this be. As together we say, and so it is.
We get to sing about money again. It's been really fun to do that. A dear friend of ours, of this community, Mr. Kirch, Mr. Fun, is playing with this idea on this song, Good Things Are Coming to Me. And it reminds me that money is just energy. It doesn't have to be controversial or provocative. It's the wonderful energy of exchange. So let's sing about that. Money is coming to me.
Money is coming to me.
He's working for me now, and I'm not worried about how. No, money is coming to me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. More than enough to live, more than enough to give, more than enough to share. Feel like it's already here. More than enough to shop, more than enough to drive, more than enough to save, with plenty left over to give away. Money is coming to me. I could just feel it, and I believe it's coming to me. It's coming to me now, and I'm not worried about how. Oh, money is coming to me. Come on, come on, come on. The universe is working for me. I could just feel it. I believe he's working for me now, and I'm not worried about how. Money is coming to me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. More than enough to live, more than enough to give, more than enough to share. Feel like it's already here. More than enough to shout, more than enough to drive, more than enough to save, with plenty left over to give away. Money. Rory Norset. Yeah, yeah, more than enough to live, more than enough to give, more than enough to share. I feel like it's already here. More than enough to show, more than enough to drive, more than enough to say, with plenty left over to give away. Money is coming to me. 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 Thank you. Thank you. That's so much fun. I'm so pleased to introduce our special music. We haven't seen this gentleman here in this venue for 6 years, maybe? Well, never in this venue. I think he was back at the Bogatti when we were there. Wonderful musician. Really knows the distinctive parts of Salt Lake Valley. As a musician, playing in little clubs, many, for years. He's a teacher of percussion at the University of Utah. He's been teaching for 52 years. Astounding. But he also sings. He's got a great voice and a great presence. And I am so glad that we had him join us today on Halloween for a special treat. Let's welcome Mark Chaney.
Is in the building.
Thank you very much. Love me tender, love me sweet, never let me go. You have made my life complete, and I love you so. Love me tender, love me true, all my dreams fulfill. For my darling, I love you, and and I always will. Love me tender, love me long, take me to your heart, for it's there that I belong and will never part. Love me tender, love me true, all my dreams fulfill. For my darling, I love you, and I always will. A one, a two, a 1, 2, 3. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. You ain't never caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine. Well, you said you was high class, that was just a lie. When you said you was high class, that was just a lie. You ain't never caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine. Hey, you ain't never caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine. Hey, you ain't never caught a rabbit, ain't no friend of mine.
Elvis was in the building. Oh my gosh, that was amazing. Thank you so much. What a riot. What a riot. And in the spirit of today's service, I have to tell you that there's been a change. We are not going to hear from Chamaigne Sharette. There has been someone new has been brought to us. You may have all heard of this person. She, as a young person, ran into all kinds of trouble. She left home. She found herself getting into other people's houses and eating their food and sleeping in their beds. She went on to survive her encounter with 3 bears, went on to perform a fantastic TED Talk that you can find online, as well as writing a memoir, Rich Bear, Poor Bear, Lessons from the Woods. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the one and the only Goldilocks.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Well, since my encounter with those 3 bears in the woods, I have been speaking all over the world about the lessons that I learned. I learned 3 lessons, and they have a lot to do with prosperity, which is our theme for the month. Keep trying until you find balance. Don't wander in the woods alone. And third, don't break into people's houses. So lesson number 1. I think the best way to talk about keep trying until you find balance is just to tell you the real story of what happened that day. Because like all legends, it gets a little bit morphed and truncated along the way. So I'm here to tell you what really happened when I got lost in the woods. I was a pretty naughty little girl. My mom told me, don't go in the woods. But I did. And then I got lost. And then it got dark. And then I got hungry. And then I got scared. And so naturally, when I found a cabin in the woods, I knocked on the door. But nobody answered. So I knocked a little harder. And then the door went. So I looked in and said, hello? But nobody answered. but I smelled something wonderful. So I opened the door a little more. There was 3 bowls of porridge on the kitchen table. And I thought, well, those nice people that live here, they surely wouldn't mind a little girl having a little porridge. So I went right in, and I chose the biggest bowl because I was really hungry. And so I tried it, but it was too hot. Then I tried the middle-sized bowl. It had some milk in it already, and it was too cold. And I tried the little bowl. It was just right. And then with my belly full, I wanted to relax. So I went to the living room, and I saw 3 chairs. The first chair was too high. My feet dangled and wouldn't touch the ground. The second chair was too low. When I sat in it, I sank so low that it almost swallowed me up. And the third chair was just right. And just as I was about to nod off to sleep, crash, the chair fell out from under me. It was all broken to bits. I didn't know what to do. I didn't want anyone to be mad at me, but I didn't know what to do, and so I figured I'll just talk to them when they get home, and surely they wouldn't mind if I took a nap. So I went upstairs looking for a bedroom, and I found one, a bedroom with 3 beds. The first bed was too hard, and the second bed was too soft, and the third bed was just right. So I fell fast asleep. Now, you may have heard the story that the 3 bears woke me up in my bed, and I screamed and ran for my life. But that's not exactly what happened. There's a few more details, so I'm here to tell you. The bears woke me up all right, but not by my bed. I woke up hearing voices. I thought, oh, good, the people are home. And I woke up and I started to go downstairs to see them, and I saw that they were bears. I was so startled, I jumped straight up in the air like one of those cats on YouTube. But they didn't hear me come down, luckily, because they were busy arguing. Mama Bear was saying, Papa Bear, you work all the time, you work too hard, you're never home, and you always miss Baby Bear's baseball games. And Papa Bear said to Mama Bear, well, I have to work hard to pay for all the baseball games in the house, and you don't work hard enough. I mean, you do, but you don't ask for enough money. You clean houses, and you only ask $10 an hour. It's like deep down inside, you don't believe you're worth anything. And Baby Bear said, oh, Mama Bear, Papa Bear, don't fight. You're both right. You're both out of balance. Just look at me. I've learned from you, and see how I run my lemonade stand? I don't work too hard. I only work on Saturdays, and I charge enough money. I value my services. I charge a good 50% markup over cost of goods sold. You should be like me. Now let's eat. I'm starving. So they went to the kitchen, and Papa Bear said, somebody's been eating my porridge. And Mama Bear said, somebody's been eating my porridge. And Baby Bear said, fascinating. Somebody's been eating my porridge, and it's all gone. Papa Bear grabbed his shotgun. Well, what in tarnation? And they all crept to the living room. Papa Bear said, somebody's been sitting in my chair. And Mama Bear said, somebody's been sitting in my chair. And Baby Bear said, somebody's been sitting in my chair, and my deduction is that since it's broken to bits, this person might have been a little heavy set. Mama said, oh, don't worry, Baby Bear, we'll buy you a brand new chair. And Papa Bear said, Mama, I told you once, I told you 1,000 times, we need to save, save, save. We can fix that chair. Why, when I was a boy growing up in the Depression, and Baby Bear went, with the kind of exasperation that only an 8-year-old baby bear can make. I couldn't see him. I was still hiding, but I didn't have to see him to know that he was rolling his eyes so big that he was rolling his whole face. I almost forgot that I was in a life-threatening situation, and I started to giggle. But I went on high alert again when I heard a 4th voice. Who is this? But then I realized it was just Baby Bear, and he was teasing his Mama and Papa Bear with the most ridiculous Indian voice, Indian accent I'd ever heard. He was saying, Mama, Papa Bear, my guru told me Managing money is like a hand. A hand should open and close, isn't it? If you saw a hand always closed, never would open, you'd say that hand is not functioning properly. If you saw a hand that was always open and never closed, you'd say that hand is broken, it's not functioning properly, isn't it? So, when managing money, it is the same way. You should bring money in, welcome it, and then save some of it, and then release the rest of it. Let it go. This is the natural law. This is part of the cycle of giving and receiving. Life is infinite supply, and you are life itself. You are infinite. It is an intimate infinite, isn't it? Mama Bear said, "What?" Baby Bear said, "What I mean is, you should do it like I do it. For my lemonade stand, I save 50% of my profits, and I reinvest them in the business, and I save another 10% for my college fund, and I leave myself some fun money to go to the mall with my friends and watch a movie and pick up some Panda Express. Oh, by the way, I think when I grow up, I'm going to open a Grizzly Express. That'll be great." Before Mama and Papa Bear could respond to their little prodigy, I sneezed. I sneezed, and they saw me. I just turned around and ran in the other direction looking for a place to hide, and the only place I could find to hide was the bedroom closet. And I started praying, and I was so scared I didn't know what to pray, so I just started saying phrases from Hail Mary and the Pledge of Allegiance and the Lord's Prayer, and it was all jumbled up, and then they came into the bedroom, and I was looking out the crack through the door. And Papa Bear said, "Somebody's been sleeping in my bed." And Mama Bear said, "Somebody's been sleeping in my bed." And Baby Bear said, "Somebody's been sleeping in my bed." And I can just tell they slept in my bed the longest. Baby Bear said, or Mama Bear said, "Don't worry, Baby Bear. You know, we don't know who's been in here. They might have cooties. We better just throw out all the blankets and sheets and buy new ones." Papa Bear said, "Oh, don't be ridiculous. We can just wash them. In fact, we don't even have to wash them. Have you seen the price of laundry detergent these days?" Baby Bear said, "Well, as my friends at school would say, you both trippin'. Mom, you spend way too much money on everything. I mean, your fingernails and your claw nails are beautiful and all, but you must go through 20 bottles of nail polish a month just painting your gigantic claws, and they're plenty ferocious and wonderful as it is without paint. And Papa Bear, you don't spend enough money. Don't you realize the kids at school make fun of me in these hand-me-down clothes you gave me? I mean, this is the 1980s. Wearing bell-bottoms is social suicide." Papa Bear folded his arms, looked down at the bell-bottom hand-me-downs that he wore when he was a kid. He thought they were pretty groovy, but whatever. I guess Baby Bear didn't like them. And Mama Bear looked at Papa Bear and looked down at her own claw nails. "I'll tell you what, Baby Bear, you're right. I'll spend a little less. How about if I give up my designer claw nail polishes and I just go to the stuff you can buy by the gallon at Home Depot, and the money I save I'll give you for clothes." And Papa Bear said, "I remember when I was your age, it was really important to fit in, so I can loosen the purse strings a little bit." And Baby Bear said, "Oh, thank you, Mama, Papa." And he gave him a big hug, and they had this family hug, and they were all smiling so big they were closing their eyes. And although it wasn't a great opportunity, it was the only opportunity I was going to get, so I slipped out of the closet and started creeping along the wall, keeping my eyes on the bears the whole time, and then it happened. Baby Bear, who had his cheek pressed against Papa Bear's belly, opened his eyes. And his eyes got as big as saucers when he saw me. And then his jaw started to drop in astonishment, revealing gigantic teeth as big as my mom's special tomato knife. And his mouth started to move a little bit. I thought he was going to go into a growl, but actually, He just relaxed into a grin. I think we had this kind of kid thing, like, yeah, I gotcha. So I smiled back, and then I ran. I ran as fast as I could, out of the house, through the woods, and back home. I never told my mom about it, but I did tell some friends at school, and they called the National Enquirer, and then the news outlets came, and that's why it turned into a legend that you've all heard of. I was on the news and all. Well, I learned a lot that day, and it wasn't just from the porridge and the chairs and the beds, keep looking until you find balance, and you will. I think I learned the most from that crazy Indian guru voice. And I'm here to tell you, if you've ever heard a baby bear imitating an Indian guru, it's quite unforgettable. Good financial management needs balance. A balance between receiving, assimilating, and releasing. Receiving, earning, or other sources, assimilating, saving, and releasing. That could be spending or tithing. When one of these is out of balance, one thing we can do is healing work around any of our feelings of unworthiness, like how Mama Bear would work hard, but she wouldn't charge enough for her services. And then some people, they work hard and earn lots of money, and they never save anything. We eat food, and we take it in, we keep some, and then the rest we release. Of course, if you're eating some Indian guru food and you've got a sensitive American stomach and it's really spicy, you might be releasing it a little faster than you anticipated. Some people have money diarrhea. They release their money a little faster than they anticipated. Comes in, goes right back out. They did a study once, and poor people, when they get windfalls, everybody gets a windfall now and then, but actually poor people will spend their windfalls the fastest because they tend to think, I'm never going to have this much money all in one place again. I may as well buy the thing I really, really want. If I had an Xbox, my life would be so much better. And so they spend it because, if they keep it, they'll inevitably spend it on bills and groceries. But if they spend it and get that Xbox, they'll do what they always do with bills and groceries, pay them a little late and eat popcorn for dinner the last week of the month. Unfortunately, I can speak with authority on this particular topic. So that was lesson 1, look for the balance. And lesson 2 is don't wander in the woods alone. And what I mean by this is, when you're looking for balance, especially with spiritual principles, it's really useful to have a community. And, every week we say that we teach spiritual principles and practices that are universal among religions. So it's no secret we could go to YouTube and look for lots of talks like I'm giving you today. And you hear about principles, but it's not the same as being in community with people, talking about it, taking classes especially, where you can talk over things with teachers and other students and, how does this principle really apply to my life? Every speaker this month has mentioned that these topics can be kind of sensitive money topics, like life is a limitless supply, tithe and the law of circulation will bring it back to me. My financial wellness might have something to do with what's in my consciousness. Does that make you squirm just a little bit? Maybe it should, because what I notice is that when something's powerful, if it's misapplied, it can have powerfully bad results. And if it's applied well and skillfully, it can have powerfully good results. It can be confusing figuring out what you believe when you turn on the 1 o'clock televangelist and he's saying, I'm getting the impression you should all write me $1,000 checks right now. And if you don't, you'll never be blessed and you'll never prosper. And you think, geez, I don't think I believe this. And then you come to the Spiritual Living Center and we're sounding a mite bit more reasonable, and just try it out and see what you think. And you hear other people saying, hey, it really works for me, and they seem reasonable, and it can be all confusing figuring out what you believe. But the good news is you don't have to figure out what you believe. You can just try it. You can start small. That's what I did. I didn't have any income at all, 0 for a few years. Don't ask me how I survived, but the universe provides. And so I started small. I wanted to make sure that in my mind I wasn't perpetuating the situation by anticipating it continuing that way. And so every time I ate, every single time, I'd say a little prayer of gratitude that went like this. Wow, here I am getting my needs met again. Amazing. And then every week I'd go to the spiritual center. I went to Unity, and I would tithe 1 penny. I'd put it in the basket. No income, but somehow I could always find a penny. And I'd say, wow, here I am, having money to spare again. Amazing. And then pretty soon my life changed. So the value of community is you can, once again, you can discuss these principles and so much more, many more nuanced and deeper principles than could ever come through a short 20-minute talk, and talk about the application of the principles. It's not just that our classes teach principles, we teach the skillful application of those principles. And you can talk about your unique situation, you can discuss it in class. So it's really a useful thing to do. So that's what I mean by don't wander in the woods alone. The difference between knowledge and wisdom is knowledge is just information, and wisdom is the successful application of that information. Another way to say it is, knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a fruit, and wisdom is not putting it in a fruit salad. And lesson 3, don't break into people's houses. I think that one's pretty self-explanatory. Just basically, there are other ways to get yourself some porridge, okay? So I'm going to close with 2 stories, a story of lack and a story of plenty. The story of lack is very scary, so it's perfect for Halloween. Ooh. I heard this story from a college economics professor. Once upon a time, you were born into a world of lack and separation. You were separate from everything and everyone, and there wasn't enough resources to go around, so the purpose of life was to figure out somehow to be okay, to have enough food and to have a roof over your head and to be relatively safe. And the only way to do it is compete, because there's just competition is the inevitable result of too many people competing for too few resources. And by the way, these days those resources are dwindling rapidly. Whew, that is a scary story. Scared me right out of my socks. It's kind of hard to argue with the economics professor, right? If you have 10 family members and 1 pumpkin pie, you're going to have small pieces of pie. But life isn't exactly a pumpkin pie. Does the possibility exist that we could create something radically different, even despite appearances? Get out of the feedback loop where there's a belief in separation, and so I better hurry and get mine because there's not enough, and so I better compete, and I'm too busy competing to take care of renewable resources and all that, and I'm scared, and there's greed in the world and more separation, and it just is a feedback loop, a vicious cycle. And what would happen? It's almost too different to imagine, but what would happen if we took perfect care of our renewable resources, and they're all renewable given enough time, and if everyone grew up to value cooperation more than competition, like if every single sport and children's book and board game was all about cooperating to create something even better than has ever been created before by putting our minds together? Or what if the object of the game was get everyone fed or get everyone across the finish line? How different would our consciousness be? And would our beliefs about human nature change? It sounds like an impossible ideal, but everything is created spiritually before it's created physically, right? So I choose to hold a space for the possibility that humanity is maturing, and once we mature so much that we truly perceive each other to be one, perceive ourselves to be one, and one heart, that we'll interact with the earth in such a different way that we would experience earth as a limitless font of provision. So I'm going to close with a story of plenty and then go right into prayer. Long, long ago, in a cottage at the edge of the wood, there lived a kind little girl and her mother. One night, the mother was not feeling well. "Oh, it is such a warm night. My good little girl, would you get me a drink of cold water?" Well, the little girl was very kind and thoughtful. And so she slipped on a dress and shoes and grabbed an old tin dipper, you know, the kind they used to dip into a big barrel of water and drink out of. And she ran to the well in the yard and she pulled up the bucket, but not a drop of water was in it. "Oh, what should I do?" said the little girl. "Mother is so weak and thirsty. I know, I'll go to the spring. Surely there will be water in the spring." Now the spring was a way off in the woods, and it was even darker in the woods. And soon she lost the path. Big stones tripped her, and small stones cut through her shoes. She sat down on the forest floor and cried, "Oh, what shall I do? I'm lost, and Mother is so weak and thirsty, and the brooks are all dry." I know. She listened. She quieted herself. She started hearing more and more of the sounds of the forest around her. And then she heard it, a little trickle. And she knew she was near the spring. She gathered herself up and followed the sound until she found the spring. And she knelt down and filled the old tin dipper with water and started back the way she had come. Pretty soon, she met a little dog. He was panting and his pink tongue was hanging from his mouth. "Oh, you poor little doggy. It's a warm night and the brooks are all dry. You must be thirsty. Well, I've gotten this water for my mother, but there's enough for you too." So she poured some water into her cupped hand and he lapped it up eagerly and went on his way. No sooner had the little dog left, she noticed it had grown lighter than before. The light seemed to be coming from her hand. She looked down and saw that the tin dipper had changed to silver. It was bright and shone like the moon. And she could see much better with the help of the light from the dipper, so she walked a little faster. Then the kind little girl found an old man on the road. The old man said, "Little girl, can you tell me where I can get a drink of cold spring water? The brooks are all dry." The kind little girl said, "Well, I've gotten this water for my mother, but there's enough for you too." And so she offered him some water, and he thanked her so kindly and went on his way. No sooner had the old man gone when she noticed it had grown even lighter than before. She looked down and saw that the silver dipper had changed to gold. It was so bright, it shone like the sun. And since she could see so much better with the help of the light from the dipper, it wasn't long before she reached home. "I've brought you a drink of cold spring water, Mother." "Oh, thank you, my good little girl. How much better I feel." Then the kind little girl and her mother noticed bright lights flashing on the walls of the house. They looked and saw that the dipper had changed to diamonds. They stood up and followed the diamonds into the kitchen, where they flew out of the window and high up into the sky. And there they turned into 7 bright, twinkling stars. A dipper in the sky. It was a very long time ago that the kind little girl and her mother lived, but if you look into the sky some bright, starry night, you just might see the dipper. A spirit that moves through all things, and therefore spirit that is me, expresses as me, and I have every quality of that spirit that infinite creativity. Thank you that there's enough for me too. There's enough for me too. There's enough for me too. With gratitude, I know this to be so for myself and for everyone in the world. I know it is so. Please together with me affirm, and so it is. Thank you.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I give. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so
Will you join me in giving Goldilocks a round of applause for sharing with us today?
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chamaigne. Beautiful words and beautiful lessons to help us all remember that there is always plenty. This is our time in our service of conscious giving, where we remember that this Center for Spiritual Living is a source of growth and spirit for each of us. And as we contemplate the oneness of spirit, knowing that there is one great spirit in and of and through all, and because spirit is everywhere, we know without doubt that spirit is us. Everything we experience, everything we think, everything we share, everything we take, everything we receive is God, is spirit. So this day, we share an attitude of abundance. We know that there is enough. There is enough for us. There is enough for all. We strive for that balance that Chamaigne described, balance between giving and receiving. We don't clench our hands too tightly. We let it come and we let it go, knowing that there is always enough. And today, we remember that as we think of our spiritual source, the Center for Spiritual Living, and we share our good. Please join me now in repeating our giving affirmation. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Filled with gratitude, I let this be, and so it is.
all that I need comes to me. All that I need comes to me. Shines upon my face. All that I need comes to me.
Let's hear some more from Mark Chaney, a.k.a. Elvis Presley.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Such a pleasure being here with this great band. The best church band in town, I'm saying. And a special hello to my dear old friend, I'll emphasize the old, Ricardo Romero, one of the finest percussionists that ever emerged from the miasma of the Great Salt Lake.
Awesome.
A good buddy of mine. And what a great band. And thank you. I tried to tie in with the message, with Chamaigne's message of today, to Elvis. Well, okay, how about this? You got Colonel Tom Parker, who signed a naive Elvis to a contract early on for 50% of everything he made and then worked him to death. Or you have Elvis, who was a supreme talent and who tried to do, hey, entertainment. Was he perfect? No. Yeah. But if you're going to be successful and you want money to flow to you, do the right thing, have some dignity, treat people with respect. Yes, make profit, but come on, Colonel Tom. Do you think that was a little excessive? Well, I do. And so that's, the amount of greed and everything that's going on, it really shakes me up. In fact, how's this for a transition? I'm all shook up. A one, a two, here comes Ricky. Oh, well, bless my soul, what's wrong with me? I'm shaking like a man on a fuzzy tree. My friends say I'm acting queer as a bug. I'm in love. I'm all shook up. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah, hey. Well, my hands are shaking and my knees are weak. I can't seem to stand on my own 2 feet. Who do you think when you have such love? I'm in love. I'm all shook up. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, yeah. Please don't ask what's on my mind. I'm a little bit stuck, but I'm feeling fine. When I'm near that girl that I love best, my heart beats so it scared me to death. She touched my hand, what a thrill I've got. Her kisses are like a volcano that's hot. I'm proud to say that she's my buttercup. I'm in love. I'm all shook up. Hey, 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 yeah. Well, my tongue keeps tied when I try to speak. My inside shake like a leaf on a tree. There's only one girl with this heart of mine. That's to have the girl that I love so fine. She touched my hand, what a thrill I've got. Her kisses are like a volcano that's hot. I'm proud to say she's my buttercup. I'm in love. I'm all shook up. Hey, 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 hey. I'm all shook up. Hey, 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 hey. I'm all shook up.
Mark Chaney. What
Isn't
a blast.
he dreamy?
And Chamaigne, you are just a fabulous storyteller.
Thank you.
That was just,
Thank
it's
you.
just wonderful. You know, my favorite Elvis quote, ambition is like a dream with a V8 engine. I love that quote. It's awesome. Well, you have a blessed week. enjoy your Halloween. Have some fun. We're going to have a completely different theme next month, so look forward to that. Enjoy the autumn weather. Let's stand together and sing our closing song. Together we can change the world.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Humanity is calling for a listening ear, for a vision clear, where the veil of fear is falling. Who will catch the pieces that are floating down? The time is now. We know we can do this. The universe's symphony is about to begin. When we're gathered here as one and tuning in. Together we can change the world. 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 We look on the bright side, it's an easy spin. When we all join in, there's more joy in the joyride. At the point of reconnection, our hearts expand, and together we stand in the sweet surrender. Side by side and arm in a fusion of one, like the colors of the rainbow in the light of the sun. Together we can change the world. 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 Ricardo. Together. Together. Together.
Wherever you look, it's easy to find. It starts with a simple act of kindness, like a drop in the pond. It makes a new ripple. Someone pays it forward, and the miracles triple. Folks are showing up from far and wide because they feel connected from deep inside. When we join hands with one heart and one mind, we turn up the volume of love and humankind. Together